PZ of me versus the Mr. Creativity Liquid TLO. Very good game here. We've got a map called Cyber Forest. Now, a lot of the Zerg players on this map will probably be rubbing their hands together. Now, the reason why they'll be rubbing their hands together is because a Reaper can't jump into the main unless they go through the natural. So you can hide a lot of really cool builds. Now, in terms of your first Overlord, on maps like this where there's only one way in and out of the natural and the main, your first Overlord is so important. And the reason why that is because you can see absolutely everything in the natural. Absolutely everything. From how many Hellions they make, how many Marines they make early on, and when they go for the Reaper eventually in the earlier game. And you'll see in this game how we can use our vision and how we can use our scouting early on to see what our opponent is doing, how he's approaching the game, and then slowly taking advantages. And ultimately catching Mr. Creativity off guard. Somebody who, I believe, is he qualified for WCS last season?
I actually don't know.
I think he did on NA. He failed to an EU multiple times, but I think he did play on NA. I think he just got in. I think he beat Tesla or Rob. So with this SCV coming in and out, all the information that I needed to know was what health is the hatchery? Will the hatchery be completed when the Reaper goes across the map? If it is, then it's a hatchery first. If the hatchery has just come down or is only a third of the way going, then there's got to be a lot of mineral spending early on to make that hatchery less produced. So basically I can see whether it's a hatch first or a pull first from the health of the hatchery itself. So the later that hatchery goes down, the more likely it's a pull first. So with this Reaper, all you're doing is just being annoying. You're trying to focus your opponent's attention on not making workers, but just trying to defend against this Reaper. And you'll see all I'm doing is just trying to kill some lings, while at home I'm trying to make the workers, get the reactor down and the factory. As soon as the factory's done, we're going to be making a starport, hopefully without any delay. And you can see now with this Reaper, I'm trying to scout and gain vision of when and where he takes his third base.
Right. Why do you not place that Reaper to block the third base? You kind of have him in a junction point there.
Now the reason why is because the Queen can start getting hit. So if I want to go in and kill Creep Tumor, I can't, because the Reaper would have taken too much damage. So right now it forces the Queen to come out his base, so I can then jump into his natural. I can now get the vision to go around his base and scout. Oh, look at the gas, he's only got one on gas. So that means he's not going for anything cheeky.
Right.
I see a lot of queens. So I see around about 4 queens already produced. I know where his minerals went, so I can more or less assume he's going for the hatchery. Now if you have a look at my vision, TLO does something very clever, and he pretends to take that second gas. I know for a fact that he's not going to finish that gas because of the fact that I saw the lack of drones at his extractor. It's a very clever mind game from TLO. He created a gas as my Reaper was going by and then cancelled it.
Right. About TLO's placement, do you have a preference when you're playing versus this third versus the third that's directly north? Like, what are the advantages and disadvantages as an attacking Terran player for that third placement?
Really good question, and TLO's almost answering that for you. The reason why it's bad to take this third base towards the bottom is because you can abuse these rocks. You can abuse these rocks by putting tanks behind them and just slowly eking out an advantage. The other third base is easier to defend against frontal pushes because you can see it from a mile away. However, you can't really scout any drops coming into your main, so it depends on the type of player that you are. But you want to always take the north third, or the third that's closer to you. If you take a third that's in between bases, well, a Terran can jump everywhere. And all I'm doing now is using this Liberator and these Hellions as distraction. So hopefully I'll try and get some damage. If not, destroy his mining time. So if you have a look at the income, I'm mining a little bit more than him at the moment, which is good. So that's all I'm trying to do now, is just be a little bit annoying. And just trying to use these Hellions actively, because as soon as he moves his queens out of the way, I'll try and jump in on the drones, or I can kill Lings. Now this is the important part of the game, and many people don't realise this when they're being aggressive as Terran. Terran players either overextend or don't attack at all. So what's very, very important is when you've actually made a lot of army, is to make use of it, and it's highlighted in this game here. I make a tank on the high ground and being prepared for any sort of attack that's coming across the map. I'm now sending the Hellions to the other side of the map because I want to be a little bit more annoying.
Right. Are you making the tanks because you're afraid of the roach potential, even with the low gas? What is your rationale for that tank versus
any sort of Ling Bane attack? If he catches all my Hellions off guard, that tank is going to save me, or try to save me, against all of those potential Banes. So you can see now I'm trying to use the Hellions just to kill as much stuff as I can. I just killed a couple of Banes, which is good, which is fantastic. So now all I'm doing is killing loads of Lings. Now I trade very well at this point. Look at my army in the main base. Just press Control and A. I think you'll be able to have a look, or you can actually see it on your dashboard. How much army I have compared to TLO. I've still got 3 Hellions alive. Got Stim finished. I deny the 4th base, but he takes the other 4th base, pretending. See, all of these are mind games. He sacrificed that drone, I think, to pretend that I was ahead, so that I wouldn't be aggressive.
Right.
I see the fact that he hasn't got 1-1. I'm pushing across the map now, and I'm trying to do some damage. This is simply a heavy commitment. This is a very heavy commitment. I'm just trying to see what I can do. He's now supply blocked. So all of that harassment's paid off here. He's now supply blocked again. And now I'm in the driving seat. Some Banelings are being finished. I know they haven't got Bane speed, but I'm going to make sure that the Siege Tank is sieged on the top, getting ready. Because I know that Lings and Banelings can't really get behind my army. He has to attack into me. Trying to make sure I focus fire the Banelings with my tank, slowly kill all of the Banelings, and now TLO is on the back foot. Now we need to keep...
Now for that tank, are you keeping those tanks on separate hotkeys so you can focus fire the Banelings more effectively?
No, I actually control left click my tank, because I always misclick when I have them on a different hotkey. So you'll see me control and left click. So I'll aim over my army and control left click the siege tanks to focus on the queens or units that are not attacking my marines. And you can see now, this is a great engagement for me. He's losing a lot of drones, and now he's losing even more. I've got more units trickling in, and I just have way too much. 1-1 is already finished. GG is in this game, and that shows you that if you can apply that aggression over and over, your opponent will drop something. They will miss something. Therefore, all of your macro behind, you will be able to crush them if you've done effective damage during the game.
Because if you had not lost those earlier Zerglings to those Hellions, your push probably would have failed. Is that a fair assessment?
Exactly. Or I might have chose to drop instead to try and reduce that link countdown and then go for an attack.
Right.
So I'm trying to abuse the fact that he can't attack my marines in the medevac. I'm trying to abuse some sort of mechanic. But at the same time, my ultimate goal is to catch him off guard like that.
Right. And so Liquid TLO in this situation did not go for bailing speed. Was that something that you would expect a Zerg to go with an earlier bailing speed? Or is that fairly reasonable? If he had not lost those links, that would have been fine for him.
I mean, he tried to mind game me so much that I think he forgot to put his workers back onto gas, because he made a second gas and then cancelled it, giving the impression that he was going to go for like a roach push or a Massling Bailey push. Now, he went for a really quick lair, and I believe he got the 1-1 after lair. So his bailing speed was done really, really quick. However, I did so much damage with the Hellions, and I took his mind off the game. While at home, I already had Stim, a couple of Marines, a tank, and a medevac. And I could do a lot of damage. It's all to do with the time spent in game and your effective movement. So if you're producing, the main premise of this game, if you can build loads of dudes, you can kill your opponent. If you have no dudes, you can't win the game. That's how I like to explain it in layman's terms. So when you see an opportunity, you go for it. And if you lose, you lose. And if you win, it can feel so good.
Right. No, I think it's really quite insightful and quite educational. seeing this game like this. Thank you for it.